Monroe Nichols es el nuevo alcalde de Tulsa y, entre otras cosas, el jefe del titular de la policía de Tulsa. A horas de tomar el cargo, le hemos preguntado sobre migración y el anuncio de las deportaciones masivas. Nos recibió en su oficina y esta fue parte de la entrevista en el tema migratorio. Alcalde, el discurso nacional del próximo presidente de los Estados Unidos, Donald Trump, del 20 de enero, menciona algo sobre deportaciones masivas. Como alcalde de Tulsa, ¿cuál es su opinión sobre este discurso?
You know, I think that it's dangerous. The language is very dangerous. I think it's irresponsible to talk in the ways that he's talked. I think all of us serving in office have an obligation to bring down the temperature as best we can, and to be very clear about our plans, whether folks like them or not. I think on one end, for President Trump, our incoming President-elect Trump, on one end, his politics are not necessarily something that I appreciate a whole bunch. But on the other end, he's known to say a lot of random things that don't make a whole lot of sense but have huge implications. But what I can say as it relates to this idea of these mass deportations of folks who have not otherwise broken the law and all that kind of stuff, not only am I concerned about the impact that has on folks in this community, but I couldn't disagree with that policy any more than I do. And I can promise you that as it relates to how we behave here with police, law enforcement, other things, that will not be the policy of the city of Tulsa. And there's not going to be anybody who's going to compel us to do anything differently. The idea, I heard not only President-elect Trump say what he said, but I also heard one of his appointees say they would deport families. And that's just not something that I support. That's not something that we would ever engage in here in Tulsa. And I hope folks who are living here, who are doing all they can to get by, working, taking care of their family, being involved in the life of their community, I hope they know that they don't have to worry about that here.
A nivel estatal no es muy diferente. El gobernador Kevin Stitt mencionó algo ligeramente diferente. Dijo que Oklahoma comenzará con las personas en las cárceles estatales. Esto está bien para nosotros, pero nos preocupa que la situación empeore para los trabajadores indocumentados que no son criminales. ¿Cuál es su opinión sobre el discurso del gobernador?
Yeah, I mean, I think, the governor's approach is one that, I don't necessarily have a huge problem with, but I do feel like oftentimes that might be a starting place, because this is the same governor that signed House Bill 4156 that we had this last session, that, criminalized a lot of things that he says he's not going to worry about from a deportation standpoint. So, I mean, I hope that the governor is kind of changing his tone a little bit and saying, we're going to make sure we limit this to people who have, kind of like violated public safety in some way, shape, or form, who have been convicted criminals, who are locked up. I think if you commit crimes that land you in prison, you put yourself at grave risk of things like that happening. I don't want us to ever have a situation where that changes, and now we're just saying, anybody out there, if we find you, we're gonna deport you. Because the problem with that is that you got to think about how it is that law enforcement could engage with somebody. We all know about probable cause, and if we're just deporting people because we believe them to be illegally in this country, well, how do you know that? Just by looking at somebody, right? How do I know that somebody is illegal? There's a lot of folks who are from different countries, who are living here, who look just like the governor looks. Nobody's gonna pull them over and ask them where they're from, right? So I mean, the governor's record on this issue is not one that I fully appreciate, but I hope he's starting to tone it down a little bit, because I think what he understands is what I understand, is that when people in high office say irresponsible things about pulling apart families and all that kind of stuff, it causes so much fear. And that cost of fear is why kids may not go to school anymore. That cause of fear is why somebody might not show up to work anymore. Those causes of fear actually impact our communities in a real way. And so I look forward to working with the governor to make sure that at least in Oklahoma, we're not in the business of actively going out to try to interrupt families, especially folks who are law-abiding, doing what they're supposed to do every day.
¿Qué pasará si la administración federal, bajo el presidente Donald Trump, amenaza a ciudades como Tulsa con recortarle fondos federales si la policía local no ayuda a las agencias federales a atrapar a las personas indocumentadas?
Yeah, I mean, we have to give them their money back. I think right now the federal government, I think we got somewhere in the neighborhood of a couple $1 million in grants and things like that from the federal government. We just have to send them $2 million back. And that would be the case across everything that we do. Look, I don't think it's going to get that far. It should not get that far. But there's not going to be anything that's going to force me to do something that I know not to be the right thing to do. We are short already 130 some odd police officers. To divert those resources to do something that I don't even believe we should be doing is something I'm never going to do. Instead, the police are here to make sure that people are safe. And the last thing I want those same police doing is going and getting involved in an issue that causes so much fear that there may be somebody in danger who believes they can't call the police if they're in danger because of their status. And so if there are folks in this community who feel like they can't even call when they need help, that is a bigger problem for us than illegal immigration. We don't want people victimized because they feel like they don't have a police department they can reach out to in case they're in trouble. And so my response to that is we just have to, send federal funds back and make sure that we figure out how to live here together in this community, protect people in communities, and that's what we would do.
Okay. Mayor, por último, me gustaría darle un pequeño regalo, una canasta de dulces mexicanos.
I love it.
And I wish you y desearle buena suerte como alcalde de Tulsa. Le pido un favor. Por favor, no se olvide de las personas indocumentadas que solo trabajan y no son criminales. Solo quieren una vida mejor para sus familias y trabajan duro.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Look, I hope that we can really work hard on getting, some really good pathways to citizenship in Tulsa. I'm primed for Tulsa to be a leader in helping make that happen. I know there's so many people, and my attitude's always been, whether you've been here for generations or you got here yesterday, I want to make sure this is a place that people can see a future in. They can see opportunity in. And that starts with really everybody. It really does. And I just also want to thank you. I always say information is the new civil right. People having access to information, having access to elected officials, having access to things going in the community. And I think this is like the second or third time that we've sat down, and I just appreciate the opportunity to speak to the community through your platform and look forward to continue to do so, because I want to make sure that folks who are listening, watching, that they do know that you have a city government that supports you, that's here with you, and anytime we can help, we're going to be there to do it.
Su gobierno seguirá compartiendo información en español como lo hizo bajo el alcalde G.T. Bynum. Es decir, seguirá habiendo persona que hable español en el departamento de comunicaciones.
Yeah, we were just talking about it a second ago, actually. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. And I actually was asking if the person who does that for us here, if she could teach me Spanish. Okay. So if you got somebody out there who wants to teach a mayor Spanish, it's good. Send them my way. Send them my way. Absolutely. Good to see you. Yes, sir.
Síguenos en Instagram como ¡Qué Buena Tulsa! Síguenos en Facebook como ¡Qué Buena Tulsa! Suscríbete a nuestro canal de YouTube ¡Qué Buena Tulsa! Búscanos en Twitter ¡Qué Buena Tulsa! ¡Qué Buena!